What if I told you that getting fired 2 days before Christmas wasn't the worst thing that could happen to someone, but to the family who did the firing? It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? A bold, almost unbelievable claim. But stick with me. This is a story about the invisible pillars that hold our lives together and the catastrophic collapse that happens when you kick them out. It's about a woman named Maria, a secret so explosive it could shatter a fortune, and a Christmas dinner that turned from a feast into a funeral for a family's integrity. You see, they thought they were firing their housekeeper. What they were really doing was firing their own conscience. By the end of this, you'll understand why true wealth has nothing to do with your bank account and everything to do with the dignity you afford others. If you've ever felt underestimated, unseen, or like your sacrifice meant nothing, this story is your second chance. Maria wasn't just the housekeeper. She was the silent rhythm of the house, the one who remembered the kids' allergies and the Mr. S favorite scotch. She carried a quiet loneliness, being an ocean away from her own family, but poured that love into this one. Her financial struggle was a constant, nagging whisper, but she faced it with unwavering dignity. This year, she'd even saved a little extra, a small act of kindness for herself, a gift for her son back home. She believed in the hope that the season represented, a light in the midst of her own quiet sacrifices. Now, let me tell you, true strength isn't about loud proclamations. It's in the quiet consistency of a woman like Maria. Think about the people in your own life who operate in the background. The barista who remembers your order, the security guard who nods hello. Their storytelling is in their actions. To truly see them is to practice a form of gratitude that fills your own soul. Try it tomorrow. Acknowledge one invisible person by name. You'll be amazed at the connection you forge, a small piece of community built on a simple thank you. Her life was a masterclass in finding joy in service. She didn't see herself as less. She saw her role as essential, the glue. And friends, that's a lesson for all of us. When you reframe your work, any work, as a service, you infuse it with purpose. Are you a cashier? You're the first friendly face someone sees. A data analyst? You're the mapmaker for big decisions. This shift in perspective, my friend, is where personal power is born. It's the secret to turning a job into a calling. But even the strongest pillars can be tested. The winds of change were about to blow through that comfortable, warm house. Maria had no idea that the family secret she had accidentally uncovered weeks ago, a piece of paper tucked in the wrong drawer, was a ticking time bomb. She had chosen to stay silent, an act of kindness to protect the family, a sacrifice of her own peace of mind. Little did she know, that secret was about to come crashing back, threatening the very foundation she helped maintain. The stage was set for a collision that would redefine everything she thought she knew about loyalty and justice. The morning of December 23rd started like any other, with the smell of fresh coffee and pine. But the air grew cold when Mr. Harrington summoned Maria to his study. His face was a stony mask, devoid of the usual casual warmth. "Maria, we've decided to restructure the household staff," he said, his words clinical and sharp. "Your services will no longer be required. We've prepared a severance. You can collect your things and go." The world stopped. Fired? Now, the financial struggle she managed so carefully suddenly became a chasm. A loneliness so profound it stole her breath. Can you imagine the shock? One moment you're planning the Christmas feast, the next you're out on the street. It's in these brutal moments that character is forged. Most people would crumble, or scream, or beg. But Maria, my friend, did something extraordinary. She held on to her dignity. She simply nodded, her back straight, and asked, "May I ask why?" His vague answer about budget cuts rang hollow, a weak excuse that couldn't mask the real, unspoken reason. She knew. It was about the secret. This is a powerful lesson in emotional control. When you're blindsided, your first reaction doesn't have to be your final one. Take a breath. Anchor yourself in your worth. Your value isn't determined by one person's decision or their cruel timing. Think of it as a test. The universe, God, whatever you believe in, is asking, do you really believe in your own worth? How you answer that question in that moment defines your next chapter. Maria, though her heart was breaking, answered with silent strength. She walked out of that mansion not with her head hung low, but with the quiet certainty of someone who knew a truth they didn't. She didn't have the full picture, but she had a piece of the puzzle. That piece was her second chance, though it didn't look like one yet. It looked like a pink slip and a cold walk home. She had her final paycheck, a meager envelope that felt like an insult, and the crushing weight of uncertainty. But as she packed her small bag, her mind wasn't on her own plight. It was on the family, on the Christmas that was about to unravel without her there to hold the pieces together. Christmas Eve arrived, and inside the Harrington mansion, chaos was the new host. The turkey was dry, the gifts were wrapped haphazardly, and Mrs. Harrington was frazzled, realizing Maria had taken a dozen tiny, crucial routines with her. The children were irritable, the magic of the day dissolving into frustration. They were experiencing a profound loss, not of a servant, but of the heart of their home. This was the first consequence, the initial crack in their perfect facade, a direct result of their own rash decision and the hidden family secret. It's funny, isn't it? We often don't appreciate the pillars until the roof starts to cave in. This is a universal truth in business, in families, in life. You might have a star employee you take for granted, or a family member who always smooths things over. My advice: never underestimate the quiet ones. Their value is often most apparent in their absence. Make a list right now. Who are the Mariahs in your world? Have you thanked them? This isn't just about being nice. It's about intelligent community building. It's strategic kindness. Meanwhile, Maria was facing her own quiet Christmas. The loneliness was a physical ache. But here's where the story takes a turn. An unexpected help appeared in the form of her neighbor, an elderly widow named Clara who had noticed Maria's absence. She knocked on her door with a plate of cookies and an invitation. This, my friends, is how the universe works. When one door slams shut, a window often cracks open, offering a sliver of hope. It's a reminder that community often blooms in the unlikeliest of soils. Clara, with a keen eye, saw Maria's despair. Over tea, she listened, and she shared her own story of loss and reconciliation. She spoke of forgiveness not as a gift to the person who wronged you, but as a weight you put down for yourself. This conversation was the beginning of Maria's healing, the first step towards seeing her situation not as an end, but a strange, painful new beginning. She still didn't know how she would survive the coming weeks, but she felt a flicker of strength, a sense that her story wasn't over yet. The Harringtons' Christmas dinner was a disaster. Amidst the bickering and the ruined food, young Emily Harrington, the teenage daughter, decided to find the special napkin rings Maria always used. Rummaging in a high cabinet for a substitute, a small, carved box fell, spilling its contents. It was a bundle of old letters. Not just any letters. They were proof of the family secret. Mr. Harrington's hidden business failures and the embezzlement he'd pinned on a silent partner. The truth Maria had discovered was now in the hands of his own daughter. The universe has a peculiar sense of justice, doesn't it? The very secret meant to be buried forever was unearthed at the most symbolically potent moment. This is what I call poetic accountability. You can't hide your lies forever. They always have a way of bubbling to the surface, especially when you've cast out the one person who is silently protecting you. Think about a lie you might be clinging to. The energy it takes to hide it is a constant drain. The path to true peace often starts with a courageous confession. The dinner table fell into a stunned silence as Emily read the letters aloud. The financial struggle they were supposedly avoiding was a lie. The reason for Maria's firing became horrifyingly clear. She wasn't a cost-cutting measure. She was a loose end. Mr. Harrington's facade crumbled in an instant. The reconciliation he now desperately needed with his family was a million miles away. His act of kindness should have been honesty, but he chose deceit, and it cost him the trust of those he loved most. In that moment, the entire family understood the magnitude of their loss. It wasn't about the dry turkey or the messy gifts. It was about dignity. They had dismissed a woman of immense integrity for a man who had none. They had traded the true heart of their home for a fragile, gilded lie. The Christmas spirit wasn't just absent, it had been betrayed. The foundation of their family was shaken, and the path to any future hope would require a humility and a forgiveness that seemed, in that moment, impossible to muster. 2 days after Christmas, a plain envelope arrived at the local newspaper's office. It contained copies of the letters and a typed, anonymous note detailing the injustice. It was an anonymous gift of truth to the community and the wronged business partner. The note was precise, factual, and without malice, a simple presentation of the facts. It was the ultimate act of kindness for the greater good, an unexpected help for those who had been cheated. The sender? It was Maria, guided by a newfound courage from her conversation with Clara. Now, some might call this revenge. I call it righteous storytelling. She wasn't seeking to destroy, she was seeking to rebalance the scales. When you have been wronged, you have a choice, to simmer in bitterness or to take a stand for what's right. Maria chose the latter, not with a shout, but with a whisper that would become a roar. This is a lesson in using your voice, even when you're afraid. What injustice have you been silent about? Speaking your truth is a sacrifice of comfort, but it's a down payment on your peace. The fallout was swift. The story broke, and Mr. Harrington faced legal and social ruin. But the real story, the one that matters, was happening in Maria's small apartment. She felt no joy in his downfall, only a profound sense of closure. This was her second chance, not at her old job, but at a new life. A life built on truth, not on servitude to a lie. The financial struggle was still real, but now she faced it with the dignity of someone who had stood up for what was right. She also received an unexpected help. The business partner who was cleared by her actions, a man who understood sacrifice, reached out. He didn't offer her a job out of pity. He offered her a better-paying, respected position in his own company, recognizing her integrity as a valuable asset. It was a true reconciliation with her own professional worth. Her hope was restored, not by a lottery win, but by the direct result of her courageous character. Her value, once invisible, was now her greatest currency. Weeks later, a letter arrived for Maria, this time from Mrs. Harrington. It wasn't a request for her to return. It was an apology, a full, humbling, and heartfelt admission of their collective failure. She spoke of the emptiness in their home, a void that went far beyond household chores. She asked for forgiveness, not for her husband's crime, but for their blindness and complicity in Maria's dismissal. This letter was the first step in their own long journey toward reconciliation, both as a family and with their own conscience. Forgiveness, my dear friend, is the final frontier of strength. It doesn't mean what happened was okay. It means you are no longer willing to carry the poison inside you. Maria read that letter and cried, not tears of pain, but of release. She wrote back a simple, powerful response. I forgive you. Those 3 words were her final sacrifice of the pain she had carried. They were her declaration of freedom. Who do you need to forgive today? Not for them, but for your own soul's liberation? The Harrington family never did have the same Christmas dinner again. How could they? But that was a good thing. Their new celebrations were quieter, more authentic, stripped of the pretense that had once defined them. They had learned a brutal lesson about who the real treasures in life are. Their story became a cautionary tale, a part of their own family storytelling, a reminder that dignity and integrity are the true cornerstones of a happy home, not wealth or status. As for Maria, she flourished. She built a new life, a new community. She became a living testament to the power of hope and the fact that even the most profound loneliness can be overcome. Her financial struggle was a memory. She was no longer one of the invisible hands. She was a woman fully seen, fully valued, and finally living a life where her outer reality matched her inner dignity. Her journey from being fired to finding her power was complete, but her new story was just beginning. So, what will you take from Maria's story? Her power didn't come from a title or a fat paycheck. It came from her unshakable character. It came from choosing dignity in the face of humiliation and forgiveness after a deep betrayal. Now, I'm turning the mirror towards you. When was the last time you truly evaluated your own character? Are you the Harrington in any part of your life, blind to the people who prop you up? Or are you the Maria, silently powerful but afraid to claim your worth? Let's get practical. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is twofold. First, identify one Maria in your world and genuinely thank them this week. Second, identify one area where you've compromised your integrity, a white lie, a silent resentment, and take one step to clean it up. That is how you start building a life that can't be ruined by a sudden storm. It's how you become the author of your own redemption story. I want to hear from you. Down in the comments, tell me this. What's one small act of integrity you can commit to this week that would make your future self proud? Let's create a community of people building lives that matter. Your story isn't over. It's waiting for you to write the next courageous chapter. If this storytelling resonated with you, if you're ready for more tales of hope, sacrifice, and real-life miracles, then you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell for notifications. Because the next story about the invisible hands that shape our world is just one click away, and it might just change everything for you.